And welcome to a special episode of the Panther-Lair Show. We have a very special guest with us. He's Biletnikoff Award winner, Jordan Addison, Pitt wide receiver. Jordan Addison. Jordan, how you doing? I know it's very cold and we're all dealing with Zooms and COVID and all those things, but how are you right now?
I'm doing pretty good. Just trying to get back, focus on school.
Sure. Now, I might as well just get it right out of the way. You're back at Pitt. Everything's all set. You're attending school at Pitt right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm back at Pitt. We're online in Zoom, so I'm in the house. But cool. I'm glad to be back though.
Yeah, I can imagine. Obviously, you go through this off season. I mean, college football is what it is this year. I'm sure, you see it all the time. There's rumors about this and that, transfers. Have you had a lot of people like hitting you up, friends, family, maybe teammates, fans randomly on Twitter, like, hey, Jordan, are you going to Pitt? Are you transferring? I mean, do you get a lot of those kind of messages from people?
Yeah, I get a lot of those messages typically on social media, but I kind of blocked it out. I'm here at Pitt is where I'm staying at. I'm gonna finish my career here. So for everybody wondering, I'm at Pitt, held to Pitt.
That was my first question. Like when you started getting those, like, did you start getting those messages from people asking you, like, pretty much when Coach Marion left? Is that when it sort of started, or was it even before that?
It was, around where he left. People started wondering, was curious. It was around that time.
Mm-hmm. Were you like surprised? Were you like, wait, why are people asking me this?
No, I wasn't surprised. I knew I was gonna get something to, like some messages to see where I was going, if I was going to stay and whatnot. So I wouldn't say I was surprised by anything.
Mm-hmm. Did it get a little overwhelming or get a little old at a certain point where you're like, all right, just leave me, stop asking me this. Stop asking me these questions.
I was good. I already knew what I was going to do. So I wasn't really worried or fazed by anything.
Mm-hmm. Sure. All right. Well, let's, I wanted to ask you that right off the bat. I think anybody who's watching this, that was their first question too. They wanted to hear you say it, and you did. So we're good there. Obviously, you win the Biletnikoff Award. I mean, congratulations on that. I'm sure that was a goal for you to be the best receiver in college football. Was there a point this season where it really kind of hit you that goal was really in reach? Was there a game or a point where you're like, wait, I might really be able to pull this off?
I'll say probably about mid-season. Everything was going well. I was averaging almost about 100 yards a game, which was one of my goals. I wanted to make sure I had 100 yards a game. So after I started doing all that, everything felt like it was just falling into place.
I know, talking to Kenny, he was the kind of guy who would just sort of skip social media for a while, particularly during the season. Did you try to stay off it, or are you still looking at Twitter and Instagram a lot throughout the fall?
Throughout the season, that's one of our goals as a receiver group, was to stay off social media a little bit. So that's kind of funny that you say that, because that was something we had in mind as well.
What's is it tough though? I mean, people probably send you like, hey, this website called you the best receiver, or hey, this, you got ranked here or ranked there. I mean, do people send that stuff to you? Do you see some of that stuff?
I'll probably run into it like scrolling down through Twitter, but for the most part, no one really sends me too much stuff. Probably my mom or my little brother.
Now, when you, the Biletnikoff Award, that ceremony was all held virtually, right? You were at Pitt's facility for that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So when, that award gets announced, I'm sure your phone blows up, right? Like, who was the first? Do you remember who the first one to either text or call you was?
I don't even remember the first person. I can't even say.
How many, if you had to like ballpark number, how many text messages did you get that night, you think?
Probably like over 25.
25? Oh, is that it? I thought you were going to be like 200 or something like that. I thought you're going to have a crazy number. When you're sitting there waiting to hear your name called, I think you probably feel confident. You believe you have a good chance of winning. But what's going through your minds in like the seconds before they actually say Jordan Addison? I mean, what are you thinking at that moment?
Really, just hoping it's me. Because how they do. They pause a little bit and try to make time go by. But I'm just sitting there like, man, I hope it's me.
Are you thinking like, all right, if it's not me, how am I going to like play it off cool and not like look too disappointed or anything? Are you thinking that?
I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't thinking nothing negative. I kind of knew it was going to be me to a standpoint.
Would you, the other guys who were kind of up for it, the Purdue, I forget what, David Bell and Jameson Williams, those guys. I mean, did you get a chance to watch those guys much? Do you know them, or have you watched much of their play?
No, I haven't watched too much of them, and I don't know any of them. I watched a little bit of James Williams, and he's a pretty good receiver.
For sure. All right. So, going into next season, obviously you guys are going to have a new offensive coordinator. I imagine that'll probably happen soon. As you've talked to Coach Narduzzi, has he talked to you at all about like, look, we're still going to do these same kind of things, or giving you an idea of what to expect out of the offense next season?
We haven't talked really too much about it. We're still trying to interview and find a guy for the spot. So we haven't really talked too much about it.
Mm-hmm. So what do you win the Biletnikoff Award as a sophomore. Like, how do you follow that up? What do you do in 2022 as a follow-up to a Biletnikoff Award winning season?
I gotta go get the Heisman now. That's what it is for me.
I mean, I guess it's happened, right? Devontae Smith, right? Mm-hmm. So it could happen for a wide receiver. What do you feel like was the biggest thing heading into this season? I mean, I know everybody wants to get better. You spend all off season. What did you really focus on heading into 2021 that you feel like helped you have the success you had?
I'll say being consistent and having a short-term memory, staying consistent through every week, and just trying to go out there and every time I get on the field, just prove to everyone out there that I'm the best receiver on the field.
Do you feel like there's like young players have to learn how to work, like particularly through the off season and then even in the season as far as studying film? Do you feel like young guys have to learn how to work? And was that something you had to do, kind of learn what the work actually is?
Yeah, I think that plays a big part. And another thing that I had to learn how to do was take care of my body throughout the season. There's a lot of young guys who don't really go into the training room or, rushing to get home and things like that. So that's another big thing that I had to pick up on, was taking care of my body and make sure I stopped in the training room.
Yeah, I don't think you didn't miss any time this year, did you? I mean, you didn't miss any games, right?
Yeah, this year I didn't miss any games.
Yeah. So I guess that paid off. I was curious about the wide receiver room. You guys have a few guys coming back. You obviously lose a few guys, but I was wondering if you could give us a little bit of a scouting report on a few of your teammates. Like, let's start with Jared Wayne. Like, what stands out to you about Jared's game and what he does on the field?
He has strong hands, so he can go up there and make those, 50-50 contested catches, and he makes people miss. Does a good job breaking tackles after he gets the ball in his hands.
Do you think defenses are sometimes surprised by that? There was a while this season where he was like leading your team in yards after the catch, like first half of the season, I think, before you had some really big games in that regard and kind of took the lead. But do you think defenses get surprised that he's able to kind of break the tackles and make guys miss like he does?
Yeah, I think they were surprised. I don't know what goes on there when they do their scouting, but I feel like he was pretty slept on early on in the season, and he had to, gain his respect, and I think he did that.
Now, Jalen Barden's a guy who came in the same class as you. He missed, like half the season or something this year with an injury. But what do you see in his game? What stands out to you about Jalen?
He has that long speed to go down the field. He's a deep ball threat. And I feel like he showed that in glimpses when he had his opportunity.
All right. And then Jaden Bradley came in as a freshman this year. I thought, had some opportunities and seemed to make plays when he got a chance. He's a bigger receiver, right? Is that kind of what stands out the most to you about him, or what do you see in Jaden?
Yeah, what stands out the most to me about him is that he's a bigger receiver, like you said. But I feel like once he learns the offense a little bit more, he'll be able to move around because he has good feet. He runs good routes. So I feel like he would be able to play inside and outside and cause those different matchups.
Mm-hmm. Now you guys are bringing in a couple transfers that are going to, contribute to the offense. Kanata Mumpfield, the wide receiver from Akron, and Keaton Slovis, the quarterback from USC. Have you met either of those guys or gotten a chance to talk to them yet?
Yeah, I met both of those guys. I got a chance to talk to them for a little bit, but, we're going to get closer throughout this offseason, and that's something that I'm looking forward to.
When they were trying to recruit Keaton Slovis to come in as a transfer quarterback, did you Did the coaches like put you in touch with him? You know what I mean? Did you get on the phone with him a little bit when they were recruiting him?
No, I didn't really get on the phone too much with him.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him a little bit before he had came, but it wasn't nothing crazy though.
Have you watched any film of him? I mean, like, did you like when you heard that Pitt was going to get him? Did you go do a little scouting on him?
Yeah, I did a little bit.
What do you think? What stood out?
Accurate. Knows how to control. How he knows how to control his offense.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering, did you happen to see Davante Adams, Green Bay Packers wide receiver, had a little comment the other day. It's going like viral. Did you happen to see this? It was a video. He was talking about like, he doesn't show a lot of what he does on social media. He's not really concerned with like the cone drills and ladder drills. It's about running routes. Did you see this out there?
I seen that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Do you, because I know, I mean, you don't put, it's not like, if I go look at your Instagram or Twitter, I don't see a bunch of ladder drills and cone drills. You don't seem to put that kind of stuff out there either. I mean, did you agree with what he was saying? And is that kind of your philosophy too?
Yeah, I did agree with what he was saying. Running routes full speed. I actually started doing that myself after I heard him say it. I wasn't really too big on cone drills, but I always did drills that translate to like game situations. Mm-hmm. So I feel like running routes full speed, that'll help a lot.
Now, going into this year, Jordan, you're going to be a junior, and obviously you have the production to, you've had the success, but you're also an older guy now. You have a couple of young receivers coming in. Even Kanata, he played a lot at Akron, but he's just going to be a sophomore this year. Is leadership something you're looking to take on this season and be a leader in the receiver group and really even on the offense as a whole?
Yes, I feel like leadership is something that I have to take on this year.
Why is that? Just because of, being one of the older guys in the receiver?
Yeah. Just because being a junior now, I feel like that's something that I need to work more towards too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, you guys, you win the ACC, you obviously win the Coastal, you win the ACC, you win 11 games, finish number 13 in the AP poll. You're going to have a target on your back, right? I mean, you guys are now the top team in the ACC that other teams are going to be gunning for. You're not going to be the underdogs as much as maybe you were. I mean, actually, you were the favorites in every game last season, but you know what I mean? People talk about Clemson or this or that. You guys are going to be probably, one of the teams with the highest expectations in the ACC. How do you have to, approach that? Because it's a little bit different position than you've been in the last couple of years. You might be the hunted rather than the hunter this season. How do you guys approach that?
Well, I'd rather be the hunted going into this next season. So really, I feel like we just got to stay humble and keep working. We got that taste of winning. So I feel like everybody is hungry. We want to just do more than what we did last season. So I feel like coming into this season, we're going to be pretty good.
Is that the expectation to match what you did last year and maybe even do more?
The expectation is to do more, not match.
Nice. All right, Jordan. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time. Glad you got moved back into Pittsburgh. I know the Pitt fans will be happy to hear you dropping that hail to Pitt in there. And, congratulations again on the Biletnikoff Award and all the success you guys had. And we'll see you once spring camp starts here in another month or two.
I appreciate it. Thank you.